Welcome to the Deep Dive. Now for you, our incredible listener, you've already scaled some, well, pretty serious linguistic mountains. You're operating at the C1 level in English. That means you're handling complex arguments, you get the subtle jokes, and you can express yourself with really impressive precision.
That's a huge achievement. It truly is.
It really is.
But here's where it gets interesting and maybe a little counterintuitive.
Okay.
For many C1 learners, you're very that busy career, demanding studies, maybe a rich family life, that success becomes the biggest hurdle to reaching C2.
Right.
It stops being about needing more grammar drills. Suddenly, it's all about finding available, high-quality time.
That is the absolute core of it, isn't it? Because the standard advice, just find more time to study.
Yeah.
Well, for busy people.
Yeah.
That's basically a myth. I mean, I've felt that frustration, that guilt, trying to carve out that magical extra hour.
Oh, absolutely. It rarely works long term.
Exactly. So the real solution isn't finding time. It's more like weaving it.
Weaving it. I like that. Think of yourself as an architect. Intelligently redesigning the fabric of your day. You're sort of seamlessly stitching these potent threads of English practice into your existing routines.
And that's what this deep dive is all about.
Yeah.
Helping you become that architect.
Precisely. It's the blueprint. We're going beyond the usual tips, digging into a framework specifically for you, the advanced learner.
So a real mindset shift.
A fundamental one. Seeing time not as this big, solid block you have to schedule.
Which is impossible for most people.
Right. But seeing it as a mosaic of opportunities. We'll look at real examples, give you a high-impact toolkit.
Okay, let's unpack that. How do we even start weaving time?
Yeah.
I guess the first big hurdle is just letting go of old ideas.
Definitely.
Especially that idea that learning only counts if you're sitting at a desk for an hour straight.
That monolithic block idea, it sets up this all-or-nothing situation.
Yeah, and if you can't get the full hour, you often just do nothing, feel guilty.
Exactly, which is why a time weaver adopts a totally different philosophy. Okay.
You see your day as this rich tapestry. You've got threads of work, commuting, chores, family time, relaxation.
All woven together already.
Exactly. The genius is weaving English learning into that existing pattern without trying to add whole new sections. Well, it involves two key mindset shifts. First, embracing micro moments.
So abandoning the all or nothing, 5 minutes isn't 0 minutes.
It's absolutely not zero. 5 minutes of focused activity done consistently. That's way more powerful than a rare 2-hour cram session.
Okay, give me an example.
Think about reviewing, say, sophisticated collocations, those word pairs that just sound right, like heavy rain, not strong rain.
Right.
Review those while the kettle boils. Or listen to and shadow just one paragraph of a podcast while you walk to the station.
Or even taking a work email you're about to send and quickly rewriting it to be more persuasive.
Perfect example. These small, intentional actions are your golden threads. They add up.
Okay, that's shift one, micro moments. What's
No,
that?
second.
Differentiating between deep and shallow learning. Because not all learning time is, well, created equal.
Makes sense.
You know, Cal Newport stuff on deep work.
Yeah, the focus concentration idea.
Exactly. Real progress on the tough stuff needs that distraction-free focus. So deep learning activities, these need high focus.
Like what?
Like deconstructing complex sentences in academic papers, or writing a persuasive argument, or actively studying the pragmatics, the hidden meanings, the subtext in a film scene.
Not just what's said, but how it's said and why.
Precisely. Or, prepping and rehearsing a presentation. That's deep work.
Got it. And then there's shallow learning.
Shallow learning. This is the lower focus stuff you can integrate more easily. Listening to a podcast just for exposure. Reviewing vocab with an SRS, a spaced repetition system.
Like Anki or Memrise?
Yeah, those kinds. Shadowing audio to improve your prosody, the rhythm and intonation. Reading news articles on topics you already know well.
So the strategy is?
Schedule short, sacred blocks for that deep learning. Protect that time. And then weave the shallow learning into all that quote-unquote dead time that fills up a busy day.
Muting, waiting.
Exactly. Make every minute count, but count in different ways depending on the minute.
Okay, so we've shifted how we think about time, but moving from philosophy to action.
Yeah.
That needs a system, right?
Absolutely. That's where our framework comes in. It's built on 4 practical pillars.
Pillars, okay.
They help you diagnose your time, build efficiency, deepen your practice, and really integrate English seamlessly.
Let's hear them. Pillar 1.
Pillar 1, the audit. Simple idea. You cannot manage what you do not measure.
Right. You need the before picture.
Exactly. Before you re-architect your day, you need the current blueprint. So, conduct a simple, honest time audit, just for 3 days.
How? Notebook? App?
Either works.
Right.
Track what you're doing in, say, 30-minute intervals, and be brutally honest. If it was scrolling social media, write that down.
Guilty as charged sometimes. What am I looking for?
2 main things. First, time fissures. Those little 5-10-minute pockets currently filled with, well, low-value stuff. That's your raw material for weaving.
Okay.
Second, energy levels. Note how you felt. Sharp in the morning. Sluggish after lunch. This helps you match the type of learning to the time of day. Don't try deep work when you're exhausted.
Makes sense. So after the audit reveals these fissures and energy patterns, Pillar 2.
Pillar 2. The system automate to elevate. This draws on habit formation. The goal is to make English practice automatic, non-negotiable, by stacking a new English habit onto an existing concrete habit.
Like James Clear talks about.
Precisely. So you might say, after I pour my morning coffee, that's the existing habit, I will spend 10 minutes deconstructing one paragraph from The Economist.
Or when I put on my running shoes.
I will press play on my English politics podcast.
Exactly. It removes the decision-making burden. The when, where, what is already decided. It becomes almost a reflex.
Okay, audit system.
Well, that's
Pillar 3.
Pillar 3. The focus engineer your deep work sanctuary. Sanctuary. I like that.
For those scheduled deep learning blocks, you have to be ruthless about protecting your focus. Seriously, 20 minutes of intense concentration beats an hour of distracted faffing about.
Absolutely. Any technique.
The Pomodoro technique is a classic for a reason. Set a timer, 25 minutes. Work only on your chosen English task. No email, no notifications off, nothing.
And then a short break.
5-minute break, then repeat if you have time. It's like a vow for that 25 minutes. It makes big tasks feel manageable and adds a bit of urgency.
That urgency is key at C1, trying to push through. What about the sanctuary part?
Environment design. Your brain links places with activities. So have a specific chair, a corner, maybe a certain coffee shop that you use only for deep English work.
So when you sit there, your brain just clicks into gear.
That's the idea. It helps automate the switch into focus mode.
Okay, audit, system, focus, Pillar 4.
Pillar 4, the integration conquer the dead time. This is where the real magic happens for busy people.
Commuting, chores, waiting in line.
All that stuff, it's not dead at all. It's prime real estate for shallow learning.
So what do we do with it?
First, curate your audio library. Your phone needs to be a treasure trove. Pre-downloaded, organized English audio podcasts, audiobooks, lectures.
So the choice is easy when you have a moment.
Effortless. Washing dishes. Just hit play. Another tactic, the one-sentence method.
Tell me more.
Use an app like Anki, or even just a notes app. But forget single words, that's more B1. Capture entire well-crafted sentences you find in your reading.
Okay.
Then, when you're waiting for the lift, pull out your phone. Absorb one perfect sentence. Analyze its structure, say it aloud softly. It's like having a mini language lab in your pocket.
Okay, this framework, audit, system, focus, integration, sounds really powerful. But theory is one thing.
Yeah.
How does it look in real life?
Great question. Let's look at a couple of case studies. Real C1 learners making this work. First, Aisha, a corporate lawyer in London.
Okay, demanding job.
Hugely. Solicitor at a major firm. Days are packed. Meetings, drafting contracts, negotiations. She's out the door at 7:30 a.m., often back at 8 p.m., plus a 45-minute tube commute each way.
Wow, her goal.
To move beyond just being understood in high-stakes situations, she wants to be persuasive, commanding, master subtle pragmatics, sophisticated legal and corporate vocab.
So her audit, what did that show?
Unsurprisingly, her commute was the biggest, most reliable chunk of dead time and her sharpest mental energy. Between 8:00 and 9:00 a.m. after coffee, before the office buzz started.
Okay, so how does she weave?
Morning commute. Shallow learning, mostly passive listening. Podcasts like the FT News Briefing or BBC's More or Less, just soaking in the rhythm, the cadence of intelligent British English. No pressure to catch every word.
It's immersion.
Exactly. Then, the evening commute. Active shallow learning, targeted shadowing. She has short clips interviews with CEOs, lawyers, and mimics specific phrases. Like, I think the crucial point to consider is focusing on intonation, stress, building that confident delivery.
Okay, that covers the commute. What about deep learning with those long hours?
That's where her 30-minute sanctuary comes in. She gets to the office at 8:15 a.m. From 8:30 to 9:00 a.m., before emails, phone is silent, away. Sacred time.
Then she rotates tasks.
Yep. Monday, Wednesday, rewrites a contract clause, 3 ways for clarity, force, elegance. Tuesday, Thursday, analyzes transcripts from Succession.
Ooh, good one.
Isn't it? A gold mine for C1. Subtext, irony, power language. She breaks down why that's a bold move can mean so many different things. It's deep, pragmatic analysis.
Not just watching TV, but studying it.
Precisely. And Friday, practice writing. Drafts a short, persuasive email on a complex legal point using vocabulary and structures she's gathered during the week.
So she basically turned her commute into a language lab and carved out a protected morning slot.
She expertly reallocated and redesigned her time. Didn't find extra time, just used what she had smarter.
That's incredibly inspiring. Okay, case study 2.
Yeah.
Mateo, freelance graphic designer, Buenos Aires.
Right. Mateo works from home, shares the care of 2 young kids, 3 and 5. So his schedule is, well, chaotic. Client deadlines mixed with childcare. Predictable blocks are rare.
Sounds familiar to many listeners, I bet. His goal?
Improve conversational fluency and confidence, especially for video calls with U.S. European clients. He understands fine, but feels hesitant, slow, searches for words when speaking live.
His audit must have looked like chaos.
Pretty much. Messy, fragmented periods. He called it time confetti. When the kids were napping or busy, his best energy. Late evening after they were asleep.
So how did he weave with confetti?
Task batching with Pomodoros. Strict system.
Yeah.
50 minutes of design work, then a 10-minute English sprint. Repeat.
Okay, 10-minute sprints. What did he do?
Hyper-focused sprints. Sprint 1 might be input. Read an article from a design blog. Hunt for industry phrases like iterate on a concept, brand coherence. Sprint 2 would be output. Practice using those phrases aloud. Explain design choices to an imaginary client in the room. Short, sharp, relevant practice.
That's clever. Fitting it into tiny gaps. What about integration or deeper work?
His killer habit, the video diary. Every night, kids in bed, it's his deep work time, but adapted. Hits record on his phone, toss for 5-10 minutes about his day, a design issue, a film he saw, like trying to explain everything everywhere all at once.
Oh, good luck with that one.
Right. But the rules are key. No script, no stopping. It simulates live conversation pressure, trains the brain for faster retrieval, builds comfort with just talking, imperfections and all.
That's brilliant. Low-stakes practice for high-stakes situations.
Exactly. And he pairs chores with listening American podcasts like This American Life while doing laundry, prepping food, just absorbing natural flow.
So Mateo didn't fight the chaos. He embraced the fragments.
He worked with a schedule, short, intense sprints for focus, the video diary for fluency muscle memory.
These examples really show what's possible. Now, to make this weaving even more effective, you need the right tools and techniques, right? High ROI stuff.
Absolutely. Fueling your system effectively. Let's talk resources. For concentrated sprints, books like Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari are fantastic.
Why Sapiens specifically?
He's a master of clear, compelling explanation of complex ideas, great model for structured arguments, precise vocabulary.
So how would a time weaver use it?
The 10-page sprint method. In a 25-minute deep work block, read 10 pages, but not just for understanding. Actively extract the skeleton of his argument, main point, evidence, those transition phrases like, this is why, or consequently.
Like collecting argumentative building blocks.
Exactly. Argumentative Legos, you could call them. Deconstruct the master's technique.
Okay, nonfiction covered. What about fiction?
Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go. It's all about subtext, an unreliable narrator. You have to read between the lines, interpret what's not said. That's a very advanced C1, C2 skill.
So how to practice that?
The dialogue dissection. Find a 2-page dialogue scene, read once for plot, then read again line by line asking, what's the real intention here? What emotion is hidden? How does the language subtly reveal it? 15 minutes on that builds huge pragmatic intelligence. It's like linguistic detective work.
Totally. What about films or series? Easier to fit in sometimes.
The Crown on Netflix. A masterclass in register.
Changing how you speak depending on the situation.
Exactly. Characters shift constantly between high formal RP and intimate styles. Learning to control your own register is a hallmark of C1, C2 mastery.
So how do you use it actively, not just watch it?
The 5-minute scene study. Pick a 5-minute scene, watch 1. No subtitles, get the gist, the emotion, watch 2. English subtitles. Pause, grab useful phrases, note differences from what you thought you heard.
Okay.
Watch 3. No subtitles again. Focus on the music of the language. Pick one character, shadow their lines, match their pitch, pace, intonation. That whole cycle, maybe 15, 20 minutes, way more effective than passive viewing.
You're building comprehension and production.
Nice. Okay, what about efficiency multipliers? learning faster within these woven moments.
Spaced repetition systems, SRS, like Anki. But for C1, forget single words. That's B1 stuff.
Right. What then?
Use it for entire sentences. Sentences that exemplify complex grammar or nuanced collocations. Your flashcard prompt shouldn't just be a word, but maybe used to hinge on in a sentence about a business negotiation.
Applying it in context.
Or explain the difference between imply and infer. It forces higher-level processing.
Good tip. Anything else?
The Feynman technique. Brilliant for truly understanding a concept, say, the subjunctive mood.
How does that work?
Try to explain it simply. Write it down or say it aloud as if teaching a beginner. It brutally exposes any gaps in your own understanding. If you can't explain it simply, you don't get it deeply enough.
It forces clarity. I like that.
And finally, create immediate feedback loops. You can't improve just practicing in isolation.
So connect practice to reality. Yes. After you write that persuasive email like Aisha, send it, see what happens. After you practice fluency like Mateo, have a low-stakes chat with an English-speaking friend. Ask for feedback. The faster the loop between practice and real-world results, the faster you adapt and learn.
Constant iteration.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So wrapping this up, that journey from C1 proficient to C2 mastery, it's tough, especially when life is incredibly busy.
It's often the hardest stage, paradoxically. But it's not about finding some mythical 25th hour.
No, it's about design, strategy, mindset.
Exactly. By ditching that rigid all-or-nothing study block idea and embracing this art of time weaving, you really change the nature of your day.
Every moment becomes a potential thread. The commute, waiting for the microwave 5 minutes before a call.
They stop being empty voids and become part of your linguistic tapestry. You're not a victim of your schedule anymore. It's architect.
It requires discipline, though, and creativity, and that honest look at how you use your time now.
It does. But by putting a system in place, focusing on those high-impact activities, and weaving practice into the life you already live, you absolutely can achieve what might seem out of reach right now.
You're not just learning English faster. You're building a more sustainable, satisfying relationship with the language.
A deeply effective one, propelling you towards that final summit of mastery.
So the big takeaway for you listening, your schedule, your clock, it's not your enemy. Think of it as your loom.
It's time to start weaving.